and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 269. I probably should have waited for a round number for this one, but you know, it happens. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside my co-host this week, the one and only Crash. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I want to apologize if my voice sounds off, if I sneeze or cough at all.
You're getting sick.
I'm sick. I'm getting sick. I just thought I should forewarn you guys.
Is it the Rona? Is it the Rona?
I still have my sense of smell, so you know.
We don't know.
I don't think so.
We don't know, no? And we have a very special guest joining us this week. It is the other half of the co-founders of My Xbox and Me. It's Ross Miller. He's back.
Hello. How you doing? You all right, Cody?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. I cannot complain. I've got so many questions for you. So many questions for you.
Oh God.
So it's obviously we're obviously today is the launch of the Xbox Series X and S for everyone out there who's getting those, and we'll get into all that in a little bit. But how have you been? Number one, what's new in life?
Well, Crash said he's not feeling well. I've been self-isolating since last Sunday. I can't taste or smell anything right now.
You got the Rona. You definitely got the Rona.
My ex-wife has the Rona, and our son passing back and forward.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
The chances are that I have the Rona. I've sent my test off today. I'll find off tomorrow. It's not an STD this time. No, I'm used to this procedure, but it's one of those things you're going to get it. Other than losing my taste of sense and smell, I have no other symptoms.
That's good.
So it looks as if I have been a lucky one.
Yeah, definitely. But other than that, this is like 4 years in the making, sir. This ain't like this.
Well,
No, not quite. No, not quite. No, like 2 years. 2 years in the making. Yeah. So for because we've had such a huge influx since you would have last been on. For people who don't know who Ross is, me and Ross started My Xbox and Me all the way back in 2015. It was the 5-year anniversary not too long ago. This month was it? It was early this week, right? Last week, the 5th.
I'm pretty sure.
I think it was the 5th. I think it's the 5th of November. So me and Ross started the podcast, and then Ross fucked off and left us to go on to try and do bigger and better things, and then it stopped happening. So we outlasted them. Let's go. No, all jokes aside, Ross went off to go and do the Reddit podcast, which I'm sure most people are probably listen to this have probably heard an episode of the Reddit podcast. What happened with that? Why did it stop? If you even can talk about it.
Yeah, definitely I can. Yeah, it was called Party Chat Podcast. It ran for 3 years. It was the official podcast of the Xbox One subreddit, and like yourself, we're in a very good position that we got some fantastic guests, done some amazing things. It was my fault that it ended by all intents and purposes. In my personal life, I was going for a divorce. I wasn't seeing my son as much, and it stopped becoming fun. Now, I know this, at the very beginning, I maybe thought one day maybe this could be a potential career or something for it, but my actual career started to take off at the same time, my day job. And I just sort of hit a point where I was no longer enjoying it, and it was interfering with me doing my work. Yeah. So I said to the guys, I was like, look, continue on without me. It's totally fine. Like I'm going to bow out. I'm going to retire. Sort of thing. And they all said no. That Party Chat is not the same without you. We think we should just call it.
They should have just phoned me. I would have come and done it. You know what I mean? I would have slipped in there nice and easy, baby.
If I remember correctly when I was leaving, I was like, do you want to come and do this with me?
Nope. Yeah, so people, but I've told people that many a time, but people were like, yeah, whatever, you're just talking crap. No, I was asked to do it as well and to come along as well, but there was a number of things of what I didn't want to do, and plus we had just started My Xbox and Me, really. It was such in the early stages still. And I knew where I wanted it to go and where it's currently getting to right now. So we were just on different paths at the end of the day. That's all.
It was an opportunity that I literally couldn't turn down in that sense.
Do you regret it?
What, leaving to go and do that?
Yeah.
No,
be honest with me.
Yes and no. Because yes, I miss all the years of interactions we could have had.
Yeah.
Everyone always talks about how you and me do really, really well.
Yeah.
When we're in the same room. Okay, so yes, I 100% missed that. I feel guilty about leaving when it was, but there probably wasn't space for me to do both.
Yeah.
And I was really gutted when you didn't come with me, because I had all these plans. We were going to go, we're going to, you know what I mean, go and do this. It was going to be big.
Yeah.
Major Nelson the first step, you know what I mean? It was all going to be all that.
Yeah.
And it just, in the same token, I've met, spoke to, done so many things. I've managed to see why Retro Crystal, who started the podcast working for Game, she's now the Xbox UK Twitter.
Yep.
Seen her career flourish. See Uncle Jesse become a large YouTuber, you know what I mean, in the 3D printing space. And even Reese, the other podcast was, he's went on to be the pretty high up in a mobile game company. I won't name it. But you know, like, there is so many regrets that I do have just for our interactions, because it did put a little bit of a, although we've always been civil and we've always been nice, it put a slight little edge on our relationship.
I'm an arsehole. I am terrible. It's something that it's taken me probably 5 years now to learn, which Kresh will know. It's very hard, and you take it very personal every time you lose a co-host. You got to remember, this show has been through 6 now, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And there's no easy way to do it, and everyone does it in a different way. Where obviously yourself, you'll go on and do something bigger than this. So then that puts me in a place where I'm like, all right, well, where does that leave me? I've got to figure that out. Then Kev came in, and then Kev didn't want to do it. Kev was more doing me a favor and just didn't want to do it. Being on camera was like a struggle for him regularly. And then we move on from Kev to Joe. And then Joseph left to go on and do something else, which that ended in a pretty bad way. And then obviously Snowbite Mike and Amy have come in, and they've gone. And then obviously I've been left with this scrub being Kresh. Absolutely just left with him. Yes, definitely left with.
The living legend himself, Kresh.
No. Kresh, what are you saying on all this?
Me and Fix had a conversation earlier where it was like about time me and him part ways.
Yeah, we were just saying that actually beforehand. But yeah, no,
I'm not here for you, Fix. I'm here for Kresh.
That's facts. That's facts. That's facts. If you don't know what My Xbox and Me is, My Xbox and Me is our weekly Xbox podcast here on youtube.com/My Xbox and Me and all podcast services. You can get the show early over on patreon.com/MCFixer. Help keep the lights on. It really does help. And don't forget to go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're on the road to 2,000 subscribers now. And we're doing Don't Give a Bit's obviously doing his video content. I just put up the low time video since embargoes are now sorted. Oh, Kresh, they absolutely effed us on that video, didn't they? We put together, so me and Kresh put together this whole load time thing. I'm doing the capture, he's doing the editing. I put it all together. We're like, this is going out the day of embargoes. And then I get told the Dirt 5 embargo has been pushed back to today. And I'm like, that video's not going to perform as well now. I'm like, we could go back and cut it, but I didn't have time because I was editing the vlog and I was editing the review, and I'm like, Jesus, just please leave us alone, Xbox. But that's what happens when you partner with the big boys. That's what happens. Things happen. You got to keep moving. Our Patreon producer this month is, of course, Erengard. Shout out to Erengard for helping the show go on and keeping us all together. Let's jump into the topic of the show this week. We're talking about the Xbox Series X and S. Where are we at, guys? Because obviously Amazon or wherever it is you've ordered them from, if you're getting them, have they screwed you or not? I'll start off real quickly, which is I had 2 Xbox Series X's turn up at my house and an Xbox Series S on top of the one I already had. So that was a stressful moment where I was like, oh, I forgot to cancel these, didn't I? I got so wrapped up in the fact that I got mine from Xbox early that I forgot that I had these other ones pre-ordered.
£1,000 disappearing from your bank account in the last 2 days?
because it's the business account. So for me, it's a case of it's a whole different I don't know if you've got one of these business cards, but you've got there's this card reader thing you have to put it in.
Yeah,
so you can't just check the bank account. You can't just check it. You have to use this. I'm not checking that all the time. So it totally just slipped my mind. Thankfully the money was in there. But yeah, I was like, okay. And then Haley's now come home and was like, oh, which one's mine? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, oh, babe, you take the Xbox Series S. It's no problem. You like the white one. It looks better. And then I can return the other one with £500 sorted. No problem. And then she's like, oh, no, I'm going to take the X. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. So now on my desk, I'm literally looking at them now. I've got 2 Xbox Series X's sat next to each other, and she was like, oh, they look like the Twin Towers. Like, nope, don't use that analogy. Come on, Haley, come on. Like, Jesus, come on. That weren't me. Blame her. Krish, where are you at with your Xbox Series S that you were getting? Did you ever buckle and get the X in the end? Because I've totally now seeing all the non-ray tracing on things and the storage space. I'm like, this is a piece of crap. No, thank you. Where are you at with it? Are you excited?
I'm not excited.
Yeah.
So I woke up in the morning and it's getting delivered by FedEx.
Yeah.
And I kept refreshing the FedEx. They give me the tracking code. I get on it. I keep refreshing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited. A little bit, like literally right before me and you got in the call, it gets delivered, and the excitement's just not there. It's not that I'm not excited.
Yeah.
But it's just sort of like sitting there, and I can't open it right now. So
interesting. And Russ,
I didn't buckle down and get a series.
You didn't.
Yep.
And for you, where are you at? Obviously, I don't know where you're at entirely with your gaming anymore. Are you still play on Xbox? What are you up to nowadays?
I'm still playing on Xbox. Yeah, no, I don't have an Xbox pre-order. I didn't pre-order the X right now. I will be getting one.
Yeah.
Like the money's sitting there for it. I've allocated to it. I will be getting one. My son's definitely got an S for his Christmas. Like,
nice.
No idea, but what.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I invested really heavily in a gaming PC this year.
Okay.
So for the urgency for me isn't quite there. I'm still going to be able to play medium and things like that on my PC to really good standard and a good monitor. I want the comfort of being able to play that on my TV, but the urgency isn't there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean I've got any less love for Xbox. I'm still fully involved in the platform. Still love the platform. I'm just one of those people. I'm not in a rush.
Yeah.
Let other people that want it day one get it, and I'll step in, December, January, February, when all the heatsink issues are gone. I'm only joking.
There is no heatsink issues. Get out of here with. Get out of here with. Yeah, if you put it in a plastic box, guys. Funny enough, consoles happen to overheat. So
so I shouldn't be putting it in a plastic. I have to redesign my whole setup.
Your whole setup needs to change. Needs to change. Well, I've seen a few reports out there that Amazon have unfortunately been dicking over a few people in the UK at least, making it a day later and a week later and a couple. And yeah, I'm like, I felt really bad getting all mine. One of mine I've sold to Greedy Ears, a listener, a friend of mine. He's not just a listener, a friend of mine who was after one, and I'd sort of promised it to him, and I regretted it because I saw him on eBay for like £900, and I was like,
yeah,
am I that guy? Am I that guy?
You're not. I know you. You're not that guy.
You know what?
No, you're not that guy.
I would have thought that, but Fix has brought this up to me so many times.
I will keep it one. Look, funny enough, obviously you all know I'm a Kind of Funny fan. Tim brought it up on Kind of Funny Gamescast, I believe, or it might have been Games Day, where it's like, there is a time and place. There is a time and place in your life where it is okay to flip things, in my opinion, because it's a job. It becomes a job at that point. You need to get up early, you need to buy the thing, you need to flip thing. You know when Xbox are sending you a free console to review them? You can't be doing that sort of thing, fella. No. You're 30 years old almost, Fix Up. You can't be flipping Xboxes on eBay. No, that's where the line gets drawn, my friend. No, I'm only joking with it, but they do make me feel a little bit sick when I see it. I'm like, oh, you disgust me, people. But I've got this Series S sitting here now, and I'm like, I'm just gonna return it. Haley made another great point with the X, where it's like, when we move house, we're going to have a Series X in the office space, which would be my workspace, and one in the front room. It's like, that makes sense. That is actually one of those things where I was like, I can't argue with that as much as I'd like to save the money now. I'm going to end up buying it down the road anyway, so I might as well just have it.
Or you just wait for the stream stick and there's no need to get a second Series X.
I'm not you scrub. It's never going to happen. I'm not doing it. Let's jump into what's been in our box or /PC for you, Ross, this week.
What is next?
What, Krish, what you been playing? What's been in the Xbox this week?
Obviously, I played more Yakuza.
Oh, let's talk. How are you still finding it?
Honestly, like, the more I play it, the more I enjoy it, the more I get invested in. Then I got to a certain point where I was like, I really regret not playing a past Yakuza game. I don't know if it would have hit the same note if I would have enjoyed it as much without the RPG mechanics.
Yeah.
But it is a world that's really entertaining to be in. So there's a little bit regret with not jumping into it earlier. I'm really glad this came out to the Xbox.
Yeah, it's one of those titles that the more I've just got past chapter 2 in it, so I'm just getting to as it starting to open up a little bit more. And yeah, the more I play, I'm like, wow, they did such a great job compared to Kawaii Zero, I believe it's called, the Yakuza 0. Because I played that one and loved the world, but obviously, as most of you know, dyslexic, and there was a ton of reading. It was a ton of reading, which you actually needed to do to understand what was going on. And I was like, this isn't for me. And I was playing it on stream as well, where I've learned this type of game. I feel like I can enjoy these games, but not on stream. Like, this is not a game that I can stream. Ross, nothing's changed. I still stream my entire life. Every single gaming experience. But, yeah, so this is one of those games that I just sort of play for me. I jump on, I play for a couple of hours. I do agree with you, though, Chris, because we spoke about it before. I'm not sure if it was on the podcast or not. Sometimes the cutscenes go on a little bit too long that take me out of the action, just a moment too long. In some moments, I get that they're getting the story across. I get that even the story is pretty good and pretty emotional in some terms, and very self-aware in others. But there are those moments where I'm like, oh, I kind of just want to play, and this game sort of stops you a lot.
That usually is like my signal, like it's time to take a break from this game. I'm gonna step away from it a little bit.
Okay.
Usually when I get to the end of that like long cutscene period.
Oh yeah.
Which I will say does seem to like. I don't come across them as often as you progress through the story, which makes sense. The intro period is going to have a lot more cutscenes and a lot of world building.
Yeah, I'd love to. I wonder who out of all the My Xbox and Me team, how many of us are beating it? 'Cause I'd love to do a spoilery cast for it, maybe kind of sort of something. I'd love to do a piece on it, some sort of video. So we should probably talk to Nano and Don't Give a Bit and Zyger and see if they're interested. Ross, ain't that weird?
What's weird?
There's more than just two of us that work at this damn company now. It's weird. Yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird. What have you been playing, Ross? Anything?
Watch Dogs Legion.
Oh.
If you remember me, I like an open world game where I can do mundane stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this game is the absolute best game if you enjoy mundane. Because collecting those skill points and doing all that kind of thing is quite laborious. But I really like the world they've created. Yes, there is some issues and there's some bugs as there is with a lot of new releases that I've encountered. But overall, I'm enjoying the world.
Yeah.
And when I do dip into the story, I'm quite enjoying that as well. I think the missions are quite varied. I like the platforming elements. There is quite a lot of platforming elements in it going on.
Yeah.
And I actually really enjoy that because it pulls you enough away from the normal. I think there maybe is a little bit too much of the puzzles going on. The deep, how can I describe it? It's like a light puzzle you have to get, a maze puzzle you have to get from point A to point B and guide electricity through it. Mm-hmm. There's probably a bit too much of that, so only negative I have to say. But other than that, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I like it. Obviously, being from London, there is a lot of things I love about it. Its world is one of them. But like I said it to Crash last week, which is like the voice over for it is not good. Some of the voice acting is terrible, especially being a Londoner and like you look at the character model, it's like that voice just doesn't fit this character. So that takes me out of it quite a lot of the time, which is a shame. But I do agree with you on the terms of like I've literally the whole time I spent with the game was me knocking out each part of London and starting that mission. So you know that you have to do the 3 different things to get the mission. That's all I've done so far. So I've done the main mission that you start off with, the mission that starts at permadeath, and just going through and doing all that. And I'm like, this is a good time. Like I really enjoy jumping on a drone and just flying across London. Like that's like my form of transport at the moment. I don't really jump in cars very often. It's just me. Yeah, I literally just jump on a drone and just fly across London. I'm like, I'd do this in the real world if I could. So it's fun. It's different. It's fun, you know?
Yeah. Like, so I spent 7.5 hours one day that I was off work because I'm self-isolating and my son isn't here. I can't see him. A day where I was doing nothing and Watch Dogs came out and I thought, I'm just going to do every one of those missions, and every skill point.
All the tech points.
They're all done before I've even tackled the main story. So I've unlocked a lot.
That's crazy. That's sort of how I used to play games. You know what I'm like, Crash, as well. That's what I used to do. Like, I don't have the time to do that anymore. Like, to be honest with you.
Usually.
Yeah, so, you had. Yeah, I suppose it's the fact you had the time to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good game. I think it's getting a little bit of negative press. Like you said about the voices, like I've got a spy. He's all suave, sophisticated, looking amazing, and he sounds like you.
Yeah, it just don't work. That's definitely not going to work. You fucker. Yeah, no, it's just little things in that game. I can now talk about the ray tracing that's in the game, which is on the Xbox Series X version, which is amazing. Again, ray tracing is going to change gaming. Lighting is one of the most important changes in gaming this next gen, which is something that you've been saying, Crash. Important lighting is is a game changer on its own. So
it just it makes the world so much more believable.
Yes, reflections, puddles, all of it.
So Watch Dogs, for me, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you just instantly notice the difference with Watch Dogs on the new consoles."
Yeah,
and it's like, because of ray tracing, because the whole thing's just giant mirrors.
Yeah,
you're walking around a city of glass.
Yeah, that's London.
You know what I mean? Like, that is going to be the show for it. I can't actually wait to see Sea of Thieves with the reflections and things like that as well.
I haven't even checked that out. Yeah,
like when you think about that could be mind blowing.
Yeah, you still love your Sea of Thieves, eh?
Always have.
Yeah, man.
I don't play it that often.
Yeah,
but when I do play it, I always enjoy it.
Yeah.
And for me, it was such an important game, if that makes sense for me personally. But yeah, I just really like that game. There's some games I've never left, and that's Rocket League and that.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Still playing Rocket League as well. Damn. Some things never change, dude. Yeah, Crash, have you started Watch Dogs yet? I know you got a code for it, but
yeah, I did start it.
Okay.
It crashed on me on 3 different occasions.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I played it. I did the intro bit. I got to the open world where Insta-Death is on, and to the part where you have to recruit the construction workers.
Yeah.
For the mission. I did that, and then I tried doing like side objectives. The game would crash. I tried continuing the main story. The game would crash for me.
That sucks.
I don't know if it's my Xbox case. I figured new Xboxes are coming soon. I'd rather just
wait,
not have the crash issue. I do agree with what you said earlier about the voices just not seeming to match the people that they come from. Granted, I'm not as familiar with a lot of the voices that you get from the game.
No, yeah.
So
fuck you, Ross. Fuck you.
Wow, that's pretty accurate.
Fuck you. Nope. And this is why you won't be back for another 4 years. But yeah,
it's more Watch Dogs, to be honest. I like the part where it really differentiates itself is from the recruiting people, and I haven't really been able to delve into that.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how different it is from past titles.
Either move your microphone up or look the other way.
Like this?
That's way better. Yes, people are going to be screaming at me.
Just to point out, just in that right there, what you said, actually, a slight weakness for me is the recruitment at a certain point becomes almost boring to me. When I'm like, I can't be bothered doing a mission just to get you because you don't really add anything to the 3 people that I'm going to use over and over and over again.
Interesting.
For me, it needs a little bit more variance here.
Have you got permadeath on?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've heard that complaint a lot, and I wonder if it ever crossed their mind, and I don't know how feasible this would be, but to have some of the other people you recruit actually do the recruit missions and that be time gated. So you can't, if you choose to send somebody on that, you can't play as that unit, but they'd be recruiting the person, then after an hour or 2 or however long it would be, they end up recruited.
Like, there's points in the game where you come across, like, for example, my main character came across and it said that person in front of me was my sister, right? And she just walked by me in the street.
Oh, okay.
A missed opportunity there, that there could have been interactions when you're wandering down, or if you're on a mission, you could come across a guard and it's your uncle's dog walker.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And you have a moral objection. Do I do my mission or do I not? I know someone here.
Yeah.
That was a little bit of a missed opportunity to me. I'm sort of pointing out some negatives, which doesn't like me, but
no, it's good.
Them to me.
It's good.
Yeah, I suppose overall, I just have to say it's fun. That's what you want.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, I think we do get wrapped up a little bit in the minutiae sometimes of video games when we do forget that they are fit entertainment and they are just to sort of... for me, Watch Dogs is the perfect podcast game when I'm going around doing the little bits that I've been doing. And I can't really speak on the story because I haven't done enough of it yet. I do agree with the whole recruitment side of things from what I've experienced so far, where I'm like, I can already see I'm probably going to use like 3 people, maybe 4 max. And unless they die, I'm not going to feel like I'm going to need to go and... For a game that's so recruit anybody, to me, it seems very much of like recruit the people you actually care about. Oh, you've got them? Perfect. Just hope they don't die for the rest of this game.
Yeah.
So
I had to recruit a second construction worker and I just felt the whole time.
Yeah,
you know, I could get one.
How varied are the missions for recruiting people?
They generally involve either A, rescuing someone, B, hacking something, or C, driving away in a car very, very fast.
Yeah. Ubisoft special.
They are a little bit similar.
Yeah. It's a very Ubisoft game.
Oh, yeah, it's so Ubisoft. But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Aye. If you're familiar with the Ubisoft mechanics, then this has got everything in it, including the dodgy driving.
No, I actually don't think the driving's that bad. I've got to give them credit, considering what Watch Dogs 1, which is the last Watch Dogs I played, compared to that, this feels like an F1 game.
They made the crew, they made a driving game, and they still can't get their driving right.
The game...
But wait, if we're talking about the crew, one of the complaints people had
was the driving.
The crew didn't feel amazing. So maybe they did get some lessons from that.
Exactly.
It doesn't feel weighty enough to turn it. You go from playing Forza to that, and it's too much.
Yeah.
But I think the point is it's a fun game. It's not supposed to be realistic. It's not supposed to be a simulator.
All right.
I kind of get that.
Moving on, I can finally talk about Dirt 5. Dirt 5 is out there in the wild. I can finally talk about playing it on the Xbox Series X. It's fine. Speaking of racing games, it is very much a launch title racing game where it's like, hey, here's the voiceover of Troy Baker. Oh my god, he's the voice. Keep listening to him talk. All right, jump in your race. Now, let's listen to Troy Baker more. I'm like, okay, I get this. The things I do like about it is I love the world that they've built there and the different countries that you go to. The weather effects are fantastic in the game, but it feels very much like a launch title arcade race game. It was like, we need a racing game. Forza's not ready. What's going to be ready on the for Xbox that we can partner with? Oh, Dirt's ready. Perfect. We'll use that. Like, it just doesn't. It's very, very, very dumbed down compared to, like, it's not open world, like, compared to, like, a Forza Horizon where, like, it's open world, you're driving to your missions, things like that. This is very much, here's your map, click, go, 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 and you've got your different paths, you've got your drift mission, and this mission, and a few, like I say, different weather missions, which are quite fun, but it feels very bare bones and not as engaging as it could be, honestly, which is... It's a shame because when you get these new pieces, you pay £500 for a new console, you want something to go, this is why I bought this. And Dirt isn't that. It's a good racing game at best, but it just doesn't blow your socks off in the ways you necessarily would want it to. Again, load times are impressive, but they're kind of impressive everything. So,
question, would you want Watch Dogs Legions to have Dirt 5 driving?
Dirt 5's driving is better than Watch Dogs. Let's not play with that. Like it's again, Dirt 5 doesn't feel bad. It just doesn't feel like a real car. The whole time I'm playing, it doesn't, like we're talking about weight and stuff like that. I had a few audio issues with my first time playing it a few times where I actually thought the game didn't have car engine noise.
Wow.
Yeah, but again, that was, you got what I will say to give full, that was when I first got my Series X. That was before patches had gone out and things have, like, you got to remember, I had the Series X 2 weeks in advance. And then I'm getting these codes coming through at different times with optimized patches at different times. And so I can't judge the game on pre-patched certain things. It's just not fair. But I still think I'm going to finish it because I'm enjoying it enough that I can listen to music while playing it. It's got a decent soundtrack. Like, I will finish it, but it just isn't the game that you want to run to and go, this is the game to play. Where, like, Assassin's Creed, which we'll jump into, for me is where I'm like, oh man, this game is beautiful. Like, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, from what I've played so far, which I'm probably about 3 hours in, but again, main story, I've only done the bare minimum. It's like, this is the game I've wanted. For, you know, when you've been waiting for a game, and I've said to you, Crash, a few times where I'm like, I'm in that lull period. This is the game to get me back out of that lull period. Where I'm like, run around the world, go and find weapons, go and find ignorance, upgrade my bags, just explore Norway, explore England, go do a rap battle one day, go play some dice the next day, murder everybody you see. It's really, really good. And
whoa. Do a rap battle?
Yeah, rap battle, baby. Yeah. You ain't ready for the rap battles in this. I lost. MC Fixer lost his rap battle.
I was about to say,
I did.
Fix, if you lose
I did. I lost my first one. The tutorial one, I absolutely lost. He started spraying bars, and I was not ready. Let me tell you.
I want everybody to pay attention to the Twitter. When this drops, I'm going to be putting up a poll whether we remove Fix from my Xbox and me for losing the rap battle.
I mean, that would be fair. I understand, if we're being honest. You got any... you have any intention of playing this game at all? Either of you to?
I do. I've heard good things about it. I still have, like, sort of a little bit of wariness to whether it's going to go as far back to what I want Assassin's Creed to be. It doesn't?
No.
Okay.
There is an option. There's an option in the game that you can turn on to turn it back into the old Assassin's Creed. But they specifically say the game wasn't designed to be played like this.
Got it. I still want to get it.
Yeah.
I'll still get it. I'll judge for myself when I play it. It's disappointing for me, but at the same time, like, Assassin's Creed has undoubtedly gotten better since it's changed this formula.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
I think perception of the game in general is just up with Origins and then Odyssey especially.
It controls better, it looks better, it feels better. Everything for me, compared to Syndicate or Unity or any of those earlier games, other than probably 2, which was one of my favorites, like, these games are so much better. This is the same team that did Origins as well, and you know how much I loved Origins. I went to bloody Egypt for it. I don't need to go to England for it, but maybe I go Norway. Who knows? But playing this, I'm like, yeah, this was the evolution of Origins that I wanted. Where, Jesus, what was the other one called? Odyssey wasn't. Odyssey kind of felt very shotgun approach and didn't focus in enough, where this feels very focused, where it's like, yes, you're rewarded for exploring at the end of the day. They've got like these mini story mission things. I'll give you one example, which is if you don't want any spoilers at all, skip forward a little bit, but this is like a tiny scenario. This woman's lost her hairbrush. So the game's not like, hey, this is a mission. It's just this woman's lost her hairbrush and another guy is looking for it. And then you go look around the area. There's another guy looking for it. And they're like talking to each other like, we need to find it. And then there's like a note that tells you where to go. It's in an area. I won't spoil that part. And you do it and it's like, you go and have this moment with this woman. And I'm like, oh, this is fun. This wasn't a mission, but it was just a fun story that I was rewarded for exploring the world. And there's a load of those little moments throughout this game, which I really enjoy.
Okay. So I was not interested in this game at all. I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game since Syndicate.
Oh, okay.
I caught myself catching the Xbox On show last night and went, what is this game? This looks so like The Witcher.
Yeah.
Like, it feels very much like The Witcher 3, like the combat, everything. And I sat and watched her play it for an hour, and then I wanted to play it myself.
Yeah.
So I bought it this morning. And I haven't played it yet. And I do think I might keep it until I finish Watch Dogs and get my new console, and that can be that, and Cyberpunk can be the rest of my winter. But yeah, I looked at it and went, I've been away from the series long enough that I don't have fatigue. Sorry, I haven't played anything since Unity. Unity was after Syndicate.
Yeah. No,
and I really liked Unity.
Unity's before Syndicate. Syndicate was the last one before they went to Origins to into an RPG.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So
Syndicate was London, right?
What?
Syndicate was England,
Syndicate
London, right?
Was
Yeah,
London,
yeah. That was the last one. Yeah.
Okay, so Syndicate was the last one I played. I hadn't played the last two. I wasn't that interested in them, and I'm really happy. I think this looks great. Plus Vikings, you know what I mean? Like,
you look like one yourself, so it works.
I've even got a wee my
I know. I've noticed. I didn't want to say anything, but Jesus, we let you go and things have changed. Jeez, let's just say that. Moving on from that because we've got to get through because we're going along already. I can tell. I knew having Ross on, we definitely would, so it's all good.
Of course.
Tetris Effect. I played that, and that is a orgasm in your head, let me tell you. Playing that game, I was like, oh, I played it today on stream for the first time and was just like, what the hell is this? Like, it's Tetris. For all intensive purposes, it's Tetris. But what is going on around you in Tetris is mind-blowing. Like, if you move shapes fast, it changes the beat of the music that's playing and changes all of the surrounding area that you're looking at as well. It was just one of those moments I was like, I could sit here for hours and hours and just play Tetris. It's in Game Pass, so for everyone that wants to play it, they can, which is fantastic, who own Game Pass, of course, which, again, Russ, remember when we used to say remember we used to play... No, but do you remember when we used to say EA Play was the best value in gaming? We didn't used to say Game Pass. Game Pass wasn't a thing back then. Now you've got EA Play in Game Pass, and it's the best value in gaming.
I could do a whole episode dedicated to my thoughts on Games Pass.
Oh, it's easy. It's too easy. It's too easy.
Looking at the model of it, and amazing. So Tetris Effect. There is a mode in that really interests me. There is a 3-player co-op mode.
Oh,
right. That you can play online against AI.
Okay.
The whole thing is you have to complete missions against AI to move closer to some temple, which is like 1,000,000 miles away in space or something.
Oh.
And that to me sounds like a bad acid trip. It does sound amazing.
It will feel like a bad acid trip as well. I guarantee it. Like it's memorizing. It really is. It mesmerizing is the word I was looking for. It just captivates you instantly when you start playing. You're like, wow, Tetris has come a long way since that Game Boy game.
I better not get you copyright strikes and that great singing.
Yeah, good point. Let's jump into the questions this week, shall we? We got one from Sarah Squid 69. Remember, if you want to email in and jump into Fix's Stack, you can. My Xbox can be podcast@gmail.com, or you can ask questions on Twitter with the hashtag MXAM or in my Discord, of course. Again, Sarah has this to say, and she says, with the announcement of Mass Effect Trilogy Remastered, we also got confirmation of another Mass Effect game in the works by, quote, veterans of the series, end quote. Do you think BioWare is working on a new Mass Effect at all? They're currently working on the next Dragon Age and probably have a small team on Anthem, though I think it's very likely the Anthem team is no longer on Anthem and they're all on Dragon Age. But who do you think is doing the new Mass Effect, if not BioWare? Do you think BioWare will even be consulted on the new game, or does EA not trust BioWare with their recent releases and wants a new studio with a new take helming the series? Crash, you like Mass Effect, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't think EA wants a new team with a new take on it, only because they said veterans of the series. I don't think you make a statement like that if you're trying to go for something new, because Andromeda was it was in line with Mass Effect, but it was also very different from the previous ones where it went super action focused and people felt like the story wasn't there enough. I think it is BioWare that's working on it. I think the Anthem team went over to Dragon Age, and I think that team probably got pretty bloated with people working on that game, especially if it's hard to say because we don't know how far along Dragon Age is. Mm-hmm. And that's really the variable here, is if Dragon Age is far enough along, I could see them moving people to start on a new Mass Effect. I wouldn't expect this Mass Effect to be super deep into production, I'd imagine. And yeah, they had said something like they had a really, really, really small team working on Anthem. They got rid of most of the people, so that is a pretty big chunk of people they could have to start working on Mass Effect if they wanted to.
Are you excited for the trilogy?
The remaster?
Yeah.
No.
Wow. Really?
No.
This is the first time EA are really doing. Well, obviously they just did Need for Speed Hot Pursuit as well. But yeah, wow. Okay, interesting.
If it was a remake, I would be excited. It is very much so a remaster from the sounds of it. And like one of my biggest issues going back to play Mass Effect after I beat it the first time was the games just don't control up to date. They do feel a little bit wonky. They are a little bit sluggish. And I understand for a lot of people that's not a problem, and you'll go back into Mass Effect, you'll love it. But for me, that always was one of the issues, even when I was first playing through Mass Effect. And I do think 2 and 3, there's a possibility I go back and I skip 1 completely, and I do play 2 and 3 because those do control significantly better than 1.
Yeah, that's a.
I just interject here.
Yeah.
The fact that you say that EA don't do remasters is totally incorrect. They remake FIFA and Madden every single year.
You know what, Ross? and this is why you don't come on the podcast anymore, because you're talking your butt cheeks as per usual.
Ross sounds pretty correct on this.
So you played this year's game?
What, this year's FIFA?
Yeah.
I have played my 10 hours trial, and for the first time since FIFA 13, I did not buy it.
13? I've been buying the game since FIFA 99, fella. With my Christmas money back as a child. Be quiet. I know about my FIFA.
I'm a little confused then, Fix. Why is it the fact that Ross brought up that they're remasters and you didn't if you've been playing since 99?
Because I'm not a hating ass hater, unlike Ross. That's the difference. That's the difference.
So for me, I'm actually quite excited to play the remasters just to see if that nostalgia thing kicks in. I fully agree that they did try to go with a different direction with
Andromeda,
yeah. And they went the wrong direction. They went the action route, whereas you could have probably went. I think this generation we've seen a lot of RPG flourishing again. If they went more down that route, less of the sort of action there and more of the invested story, I think it would have been a little bit better. But they also remember that they had Dragon Age at the beginning of the generation, which was the game of the year, which no one ever remembers was the first game of the year of the generation on most publications. So I don't think they're a dead studio in the sense where they're behind or they can't make games anymore.
They're dead with me. Let me tell you, they had one chance with me, BioWare, which again, I'm not like BioWare games do not speak to me just in that way. They're not fixer type games, unfortunately. Never got into Mass Effect. I was really hoping to with a Mass Effect remake, but a remaster does absolutely nothing for me. And I was burnt so hard on Anthem, as most of you already know. Put so many hours into Anthem, waiting for them to fix it. The promise of more story, the promise of everything that was promised, just never ever come to fruition. And for me, I'm like, I couldn't give a tuppence. I just don't. Even the remake, I'm like, the remaster, sorry, this should have been a remake. It needed, for me, you wanted to get people like me in. You needed a Resident Evil 2 remake. That's what you needed for Mass Effect 1. Because I played Mass Effect 1. That was like, people, you gotta play. I went to try and play. I was like, this is awful. Like, this is so, you can laugh, but it's the truth. It controls so badly that I'm just like, you know what? I don't have time for it. No. There's too many better experiences out there in the world, from AA to AAA to indie, all in Game Pass. I'm not spending my time with a game that I just can't get past those fundamentals, which are bad in gameplay. Not to today's standards, anyway. And then...
That's exactly how I felt with Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, tank controls. I understand. I understand. I tell you what, Ross, you're definitely never coming back, brother. Never.
Don't worry. One week Fix is gonna hit me up like, "Hey, I can't make it to the podcast. Can you record this?"
I'll do it solo. I've done it before. Nano, get ready because you're the next one up. Let me tell you, kid. But I was very disappointed by the news. Honestly, I understand why they've done it this way because it's an easier way to cash in, but it needed more than this, in my opinion. And who do I think will work on it? I think it'll be BioWare. I don't think they're going to take it away. I just think they're going to add people in that actually care about shouldn't say that, people that are veterans with the series and have a lot of love for the series. So we'll probably they have to. This is the last chance for anything Mass Effect. This is it. If this doesn't do well, you're in trouble, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next step, if this doesn't do well, would be like in 10 years down the line, where EA's like, we've been sitting on Mass Effect,
remake,
finally remake.
That'll be when you're
It won't even, and then maybe it gets reinvigorated then. But like, I really do think, for people hoping in the near future to get more Mass Effect games and stuff like that, I do think the next thing they drop Mass Effect has to be a success.
Has to be. There's not even a question. Moving on, Mr. Mitch George asks, how much do you think the Xbox Series X/S, having features that the PS5 is missing at launch, hardware storage for next-gen games, expandable storage, will move the needle towards Xbox, clearly? I don't think it does at all, unfortunately. I am very much of the mind of, like, it's so interesting being on the other side of this now as the reviewer of these consoles. Where I'm like, in my opinion, one of them has the power, one of them has the features, and the other one has the games. That is it. Like, all Xbox is missing for a 10 out of 10 review for the Series X is one killer IP. That IP got delayed. Yep. Do you know? Like, that all Halo had to be was decent. And it would have been and it just needs to look good, have ray tracing, things of that nature, and be a decent game. And I think people would be talking about Xbox in a different light than they were when the console dropped. Even when the console drops, I didn't feel that bubbly sensation in my belly like you usually do with a console. And maybe, again, because I'm on the other side of it, maybe it's different. But it didn't feel like IGN's review dropped, and I was like, it got an 8. Oh, yeah, that's like, even with same with the PlayStation 5, by the way, it got an 8 as well. I didn't even realize reviews had come out. I just missed that. It just, this gen feels very much like an upgradeable console, which it isn't. It isn't that, but it feels like that. And the features that are missing on Sony's side are absolutely poor. We went through them on last week's episode. To not launch with expandable storage when you have a 650 gig hard drive left is terrible. Like, that is ridiculous. But it's not going to move the needle, no, because the casual PlayStation have the casual fan that plays Call of Duty, FIFA, Madden, NBA. So as long as they have that audience in abundance, they're going to shift more units than the Xbox. Period.
Yeah. But does it matter if they shift more units?
For the conversation of what he's asking, yes. In the long haul, no. Yeah. No, it doesn't. We talk about this all the time on the podcast, which Xbox is an ecosystem. Doesn't matter if they sell 5 consoles, then they're going to sell Game Pass on everything, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
But I really don't. I don't think it's Microsoft's. We've talked about it. Like, you're right. I don't think it's Microsoft's goal to outsell Sony. I think Microsoft wants more people in its ecosystem than Sony, and they're on track to do that with xCloud being on Game Pass, not Game Pass, on Android and stuff like that, right? And it's coming to PC. And if the streaming stick is true as well, that's like a big get for them too. That's more homes they can get into. So
absolutely. You're talking about the PC will be a big one, because you imagine sitting there and going like that. So wait, I've got a Chromebook, and I can just download an app and play games.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, the markets that opens up, the countries that opens up, the mobile devices already has. So yeah, I like that there's differences between the two consoles. I think, they have went for slightly different directions, but you're perfectly correct. As the storage thing is extremely poor when Warzone takes up 200 gig.
Yeah, no, 100%.
No, like that to me is, I know they can say that they can save because you're not having to load the same image multiple times, and they can save sizes on new consoles. We're not seeing that yet.
You won't do yet.
They're not taking advantage of the full hardware, the SSDs, because they're working all that out. So we're not going to see that for a period of time, and hopefully by that time they have resolved their storage issues. But I actually think the storage space is going to be an issue for both consoles, if I'm perfectly honest.
I think I agree with that, only in terms of the SSD. But like, you can play, the thing about like it being so early in this gen is that you can play old games off the external.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's not horrible, right?
No.
Like you said, Warzone. Yeah.
No, yes, I agree. I agree. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You can play Warzone off of an external.
Yes.
On both platforms.
Yep.
So like there is that option for people who don't want to.
Yeah, but you want those load times. You want it to take full. You don't want to buy. That's my thing. Where again, it's like
I absolutely agree.
I'm not buying this console for it. I'd literally unplugged my external just for that point the other day, where I was like, I want to see how many games I've actually got on this Xbox that are gonna utilize the thing I didn't pay for it, but to utilize the actual system. And it's like, oh, okay, 23 I fit on it right now. That's with Watch Dogs Legion, that's with Assassin's Creed, FIFA, NBA Next Gen, like all of that. So it's big enough. 23 games is a lot of games to hold on a hard drive. That doesn't include a 100 gig Call of Duty, but it does have a 100 gig NBA. So there's enough there. But when it comes to its competitor, it's a little bit ridiculous, if I'm being honest. But moving on, we got one more, which comes from Don't Give a Bit. Crash, you have to help me with this word, which is how much
adoration.
I was ads, I couldn't get them. Adoration Sony has received for its haptic feedback triggers. Do you think we can expect to see them in the future Xbox controllers? Perhaps an Elite version 3? No! And I'll tell you why straight off the bat, because I guarantee you in a 6 months to a year, no third-party developer is going to be utilizing them.
Why do you say that?
Because I think it's more work. If you are somebody, unless you are in a partnership with Sony, where they are paying you development or things of that nature, or it's in your contract to do it, it is more work. Again, it's the touchscreen thing, even that. Some games didn't even utilize the touchscreen.
No, that's true.
That was just swiping. You think that every game is going to want to program a whole controller? I'm not saying that some games won't. What I'm saying is of the big games that are in crunch mode, or you think haptic controller triggers are going to be top of their priority list? There's no way.
All you need is Sony to release a thing in their contract. If you want to release in their contract, you have to have haptic feedback.
I understand that.
There's also a big difference between the haptic feedback on the controller and touchscreen. For them to do touchscreen is you have to fundamentally find a way for it to work within the game, whereas haptic feedback a lot of times can work within the constraints of how the game's made already, right? If you're reloading, you can't push down on the trigger, the rumbling while you're walking in certain places.
But it's more work.
It's more. I absolutely agree with you on that point, but I don't agree with the touchscreen thing because they are fundamentally different in how they're applied.
What I'm saying is they both things are more work. And one thing to me is, if you're not going to do a touchscreen and everything, I'm not saying most games utilize it. I'm not saying that. I just think as the generation, it definitely comes down to who sells more consoles, number one. Like, if Xbox was to outsell the PlayStation, which I don't think it will, then third party is going to have even less reason to want to do it. Unless there's other controllers out there on the market, they're going to have less reason to do it. If Sony run away with it again, like they did 100 million units, maybe we see that. But I just feel like a lot of people have moved to PC gaming. So you're going to see less of Sony outselling the market to that margin again, I think. Again, I don't 100% know. And no, we've seen Xbox have a strong-minded thing on VR. They could easily have partnered with Oculus or Vive or any of these companies. Go, all right, and VR's on our system. It's like, no, we didn't believe in that, or we don't care about that. We're going to worry about things we actually care about: xCloud, Game Pass, things like that, and everything else is secondary. Again, me personally, I don't think Xbox even play with that at all.
Yeah, the only way I can see it happening is if it becomes a standard in a lot of, like you said, the third-party games. If they adopt it a lot, maybe if Sony does sell crazy and every third-party starting to use it, and it's something that Microsoft actively doesn't have that Sony does have, that deepens that experience. I think that's the only way they really jump into that.
I think it'll be an option. That's the difference between Sony and Xbox. Xbox give you options, Sony just give you what they want at the end of the day, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. It's just two different ways of doing business at the end of the day. Xbox will, if it happens, it will be an option. It will be an Elite 3. I don't think it'll be an Elite 3, actually. But I think it'll be another controller that's cost £70, £80. Somewhere in the middle of an Elite versus, something like that, I think. But that's just me. Who knows? Ross, one more question coming for you, specifically, which was from Little Smitty You may remember. He says, I can't think of any questions to ask that isn't a callback to a joke that most listeners won't understand. Does Ross still dream of Phil Spencer wearing his face at the Xbox showcase?
Phil Spencer wearing a T-shirt with my face on it at E3 on stage. The day will still come.
Okay.
I maybe have pulled back my estimations a little bit, and I've pulled it back to having an Xbox employee on stage presenting during the E3.
Okay.
And Retro Crystal's doing quite well for herself. She was at Playground. She could be on stage one day doing it. I would take that as being a close second. But Phil, we all know you listen to this podcast.
Of course.
Right now. I'll send you, I told you, I'll send you £5 Great British pounds.
Of course.
Design and make the T-shirt yourself. I'm not sending any more than that. I'm not designing it for you. I'm not paying anything more than that. £5 British pounds. Corey, can I borrow a fiver?
Yeah, we're doing all right. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah.
You just bought 3 Xboxes today. I think you're doing
motherfucker.
It will still happen. Get on Twitter. Ross on Phil was a hashtag, I believe.
Yeah.
Ross on Phil was a hashtag. We had 3 retweets.
The context of that just doesn't go down in 2020, mate. I gotta be honest.
What?
Don't want Ross on anybody without consent.
That's true.
That's a damn. I remember when you said that for the first time as a prediction, and the rest are just cracking up for E3. Man, how things have changed, man.
Just to say, I have given that as a prediction on every single show I have ever been on. I've been on quite a few different podcasts over the years for E3, and every single time it gets the same reaction. They laugh, and then no one speaks to me for the rest of the episodes.
I can understand why. I'll be honest. I can understand why. This one's going long, and I don't actually have time to go long this week, unfortunately. So we're going to have to skip the news. The last thing we'll do is games going into Game Pass this month. Obviously, November 9th, you had Gears Tactics. November 10th, you had Destiny 2. Planet Coaster Console Edition, Android and console. Tetris Effect, console and PC. On November 12th, Final Fantasy VIII Remastered on console and PC. Guna 2 on Android. Streets of Rogue on PC. November 17th, you have Ark Survival Evolved on Android, console, and PC. Halo: The Master Chief Collection is coming. Halo 4 is going to be in the Master Chief Collection. Sorry, it's finally coming. The campaign on the 17th, so that should be fun. Crash, I know you're looking forward to that, surely.
Oh, absolutely. That's me.
November 19th, River City Girl is coming to Android, console, and PC, and Star Renegades. I did so well. Coming to Android and console. Games with Gold this month. You have Origami Shadow Edition, available November 1st, November 30th. You will have missed out on Swim Sanity by the time this comes out. So, Full Spectrum Warrior again, November 1st, November 15th. Oh no, I got it the wrong way around.
Yeah, I was about to.
You can still get Swim Sanity. November 16th to December 15th. You can't get full Spectrum Warrior. Yeah, it's all good. And then November 16th to November 30th, Lego Indiana Jones. Let's plug and get ourselves out of here. Ross!
Yeah.
What you got to plug this week, dude?
So recently I'm actually helping out, or I've just started dealing with the Playdates people. So the Xbox Playdates. So you may see me on and about their Twitch channel at Xbox Playdates GB. You can follow them on Twitter as well at Xbox Playdates GB. And for more interesting quotes about what I want my face on, you can follow me on Twitter at our Podfather.
Crash.
I wasn't the Podfather when I was on this podcast, was I?
No, you wasn't, mate. Remember, because we made you. You wasn't even you was a pod baby, not a father, mate. Back when we had you.
I don't like this tone you're taking with Ross here, Fix.
What facts? What facts? What facts? You don't like facts?
We don't like facts. Fix, we don't like facts around here.
That's a very good point. Otherwise, people can fact check me. We don't want that. Where can people find you, Crash?
Twitter at Crushnick Plays, on Twitch at Crushnick, and Yeah, that's I don't have a long plug. I never have long plugs, Fix.
I know. People respect it, not
Okay.
me. You can find me everywhere at MC Fixer. I currently have a video of the review of the Xbox Series X up on my personal YouTube channel, youtube.com/MC Fixer, and we have a conversation with myself and Mike Channel from Outside Xbox on the channel as well. We talk an hour of all things Xbox Series X. Again, keep being amazing. There's a GIF. If you search MC Fixer or Xbox Series X on Twitter, you will see a GIF of me holding and hugging my Xbox Series X. Skybound just tweeted it out. No context. I didn't know who I was, and I just tweeted it out. So you can do it too. I believe in you. Enjoy your Xboxes. I want plenty of questions for next week's show. Talking about that, we will cover more. We'll cover all the news. The Rock's giving away consoles to hospitals. We've got the BBC iPlayers not working. A bunch of stuff. Xbox apparently want to buy a new dev studios, Crash. Wild.
Yeah, I heard about
Maybe
that.
we do another episode this week, Crash, where we cover news. Maybe. I ain't decided. But until then, I will love you, leave you, and see you all later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.